Hi, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of my 12 favorite Diana Ross albums. And today we are talking about the album that turned the whole world upside down, the album Diana, with huge hits and her best selling album to date. And this album was written, produced, arranged, and mixed and played by Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards of Chic, the incredible musicians and incredible group. And this whole album is a concept album done for Diana Ross. And it was her biggest hit. It still is up to date her biggest hit. The first song on the album is Upside Down, and Upside Down as a single was #1 all over the world, in Switzerland, in France, in Germany, in the United States. And originally, the song is called The Work Song, and they changed the title to make it Upside Down. They changed the lyrics as well. And at first, it was intended for Miss Aretha Franklin, and she was not very happy with the idea of just singing it the way it was intended. She wanted to play around, try it out, and make it her own. And it was not accepted by the group Chic. So that didn't work out. And so that song was then included in all of the other songs that were written specifically for Miss Diana Ross. The second song is Tenderness. Tenderness is also upbeat, and it's a song that really resembles Diana Ross in the words, because it's all about love and tenderness being the best, and her confessing that that's what she loves the most, and that's what the world needs. So it's really one of those songs. And because it is the second song on the album, you know right away that you are in for a dance album, for something where you're supposed to move. And it's just very, very exciting. Then the pace goes down right away with the song Friend to Friend. Beautiful song where there she is accompanied by a guitar, which is an acoustic guitar. On this album, the bass guitar is played by Bernard Edwards, and the lead guitar, electric guitar, played by Nile Rodgers. And it's their sound is so typical when you hear it, whether it be for David Bowie or for a French singer here called Sheila, or of course with the Chic, you recognize that sound immediately. It's no other people sound like Nile Rodgers' guitar. And Friend to Friend, this time it's an acoustic, and it's Diana Ross's beautiful speaking voice. Very, very short poem, and just absolutely lovely. And then one of her most famous songs, I'm Coming Out, because it is a song in which Diana Ross comes out on stage. And in 1981, Diana Ross did a television special which filmed part of her concert in Los Angeles and part in a studio. And she came out for the first time with that song, I'm Coming Out, straight into the audience with an unbelievable fox coat. And she looked absolutely amazing. And it was very, very, very exciting. And in the middle of the album, the concert, she sang Upside Down, which she says to the audience, are you ready for the song you made #1 for me? Which really shows how excited and how happy she was to have a #1 song again, to be back on the charts. And she asks if someone will come up and dance with her. And being Diana Ross, who else but Michael Jackson comes up on the stage to dance and sing with her and end the song. And it is just the most thrilling and exciting thing you could imagine. Michael Jackson singing Upside Down and just making it his own, and Diana Ross just dancing and them kissing, and she's moving in that really heavy sequin dress because it weighs a ton. And they're just absolutely gorgeous, and I'll put the link below. And at the end of that concert, she ends her concert with Ain't No Mountain High Enough, like usual. And this is where she wears her iconic tulle cloud of a coat. And this is a copy of her coat. That's why I put it here with me. I always put some of Diana Ross regalia when I'm talking about her albums. And I was fortunate enough to have the exact pattern of her coat, and believe me, it takes up a lot of tulle. It's expensive being Diana Ross. Now about being Diana Ross. I'm Coming Out was written by Nile Rodgers when he went into a club and in the bathroom, in the men's room, but in the urinal, he was between two Diana Ross female impersonators. And so he realized at that moment how important to the gay community Diana Ross was, and his idea of making a song where she would be coming out, and of course coming out on stage, but it's a double entendre because he wanted it to speak also to the gay community. And of course, I'm Coming Out has become a song which means a lot to our community, and it also, his idea was for it to become her opening song, because he knew that if she would sing it a lot in concerts, then a lot of money would be coming into their pockets because of the royalties. And then we move on to a song called Have Fun Again. And this was a Diana Ross idea, because when she met with Chic, she said to them, I want a song that my children can dance to. And of course, her children, Rhonda, Tracy, and Chutney, at the time were very young girls, but probably listening to the radio and listening to young singers. And I guess what she meant was, I want, my songs to be up there and not be, old songs. And so the idea of Have Fun Again, just like little children, see how they have fun. And it's an amazing song. And the song kind of is very strange. It slows down at the end and it almost ends, and then it starts again with the chorus going, have fun, have fun. And then Diana Ross picks it up, and it's like a second, it's a second piece of the song. Now, speaking about this, the way this was mixed, this is the reissue, the 2011 reissue of the Diana album. And as I said, Motown makes an amazing job reissuing these albums, and they included the original Chic mix, because when the album was done, and it was finished in March of 1980, and it came out in April in some countries and in May in others. So in 1 month later, the album was out. And what Diana Ross did is she took the tapes of the original recording session and she had it re-engineered and remixed, because in her words, she thought that she sounded too much like a background singer on a Chic album. And she wanted this to be a Diana Ross album, because this is Diana Ross. And so the album that we've been listening to for, at the time, 30 years is another version. And it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's not very, very, very different from the Chic version, but there are differences. And the best way I can explain it, but you must listen to it, and that's why I make these videos, is that the Chic version is louder and it's more musical. And of course, they're musicians, so they put forward this extraordinary orchestration. Now, of course, in no way does Diana Ross sound like a background singer. She is definitely out there, and I think sometimes even more. But it is understandable that it sounds like a Chic product. And Miss Ross wanted a Diana Ross vehicle, and that's exactly what it is. And the album cover, now this again, the idea is from Nile Rodgers, because he said, we're going to make this album look like a layout from a high fashion magazine, because they adored the way Diana Ross dressed. And Nile Rodgers said that whenever she came to the studio, she always had different outfits, and she was a model. And so they made the album look like a layout from, when you open a magazine, a Vogue magazine. And that's why the title was Diana. It's not here, but it just said Diana, just like it would have said Vogue. And the outside picture is Francesco Scavullo, and the inside picture is Douglas Kirkland. Now, Francesco Scavullo, this picture was taken in his studio, and Diana Ross found, laying on a couch, the jeans that belonged to a famous supermodel in the 80s called Gia, and she was the biggest star. Actually, when Cindy Crawford became a model, they called her Baby Gia because she looked so much like the original model. And these were her jeans; they belonged to her, and she had left them there. And so Diana Ross just put them on, and then decided for this because she actually arrived with makeup artists, hairdressers, and a truckload of clothing, including very elaborate gowns. And then that's the magic of these album covers, that something, something happens. And Miss Ross said in an interview, "This is the only time you'll see me with my real hair." I guess she just means, when she has her beautiful, wet, short cut. In France, you say carré. It's like a square. And then on the inside, this is Douglas Kirkland. Now, he did a lot of pictures of Diana Ross, so it wasn't taken at the same time. And it's a color photo, and she looks absolutely stunning. Again, wearing a Norma Kamali blouse, just like on the Boss album. Norma Kamali was one of her favorite designers. And again, the idea, the whole concept of this album, everything is thought through. After Have Fun Again, My Old Piano, it was issued out as a single. It's a great song, and it's a duet between a guitar, again, acoustic guitar, and a piano. And Diana Ross is just having so much fun talking about her old piano, her old keyboard. It's very, very beautiful. It's a great song. Somehow it reminds you of It's My House from the album The Boss, because it's talking about her very own, her house, her personal items, things that she cherishes. And so it kind of reminds you, it sounds nothing like it, but it kind of reminds me, I don't know why. And then a song called Now That You're Gone. Originally it was titled Reggae, and you can see it on the inside here of the reissue. You have all the titles, the way they were written on the tapes, and so that was the original title, and it is a reggae-ish sound, and it's a slow-paced song again. And this is where Diana Ross has what I call the Love Hangover voice. It's very, very sexy. She has those little hiccups, and she's just barely, just singing, and it's very sad. It's reminiscent, Now That You're Gone, and it has these reggae vibes. I'm not a reggae fan, but here it's just fine. And the last song is called Give Up. It's a very, very upbeat song, and the most rock song of the whole album, a very rock oriented. Now, you have to remember, this is right at the time of this great backlash that the disco era experienced, where people began to reject disco for a lot of reasons. One of them was that everybody was doing disco. You had disco aerobic albums. Ethel Merman, Kermit the Frog, they all did disco albums. So disco was becoming a little bit of in French, you say n'importe quoi, but also because disco was very gay, and it was also very black. So there was the rejection of this music had a profound meaning. But so in any case, what happened in the music industry is that anything that was disco had to be called something else. Now, this is a dance album, and chic, you cannot put it in the disco section, because it's just so particular. It's so magnificent. Good Times was sampled to become the first mainstream rap song in the world, The Rapper's Delight. So, chic are more than just disco. I just gave you every one of the songs and told you a couple of anecdotes, because I think that's always so great to know. And I will link below, of course, the music to the album, because that's the most important. You have to listen to the album. And I just wanted to thank you all for being part of this community. We are now 250 people. I cannot believe that 250 people listen to my constant blabbing about Diana Ross and Barbra Streisand. and other idols, icons. But thank you so much, and thank you for all your comments, and I hope to see you very soon for another Diana Ross amazing album. See you very soon.